Modern metal tiles are not just painted sheets. They are highly engineered industrial products designed to solve several problems simultaneously, protecting the structure, reducing weight, withstanding wind loads, preventing leaks, and resisting corrosion for decades. Their advantage over clay tiles does not depend solely on the material, but on the entire manufacturing chain. The steel must be produced with the correct composition, reduced to very precise thicknesses, coated with zinc or protective alloys, chemically prepared to receive paint, and then deformed without losing strength. Each stage fulfills an exact function. If a failure occurs in any of them, the tile can scratch, deform, corrode, or lose color too soon. Therefore, manufacturing metal tiles does not consist merely of bending a sheet. It consists of converting common steel into a lightweight, stable, and durable architectural barrier, capable of surpassing many traditional systems in lifespan and maintenance. The process begins far from the finished roof. It starts in the steel industry, where iron ore stops being a rock to transform into rolled steel. This first phase defines the base strength of the tile. If the steel does not have the correct composition, it will later be unable to bend properly, will not adequately accept galvanization, and will not maintain the final shape of the profile. Iron ore arrives at the plant in the form of crushed rock or pellets. It is mixed with coke and fluxes such as limestone. The coke provides carbon and thermal energy. The limestone helps separate impurities. Everything enters the blast furnace, a gigantic installation that operates at extreme temperatures. There, the oxygen in the ore is separated from the iron through intense chemical reactions. The result is pig iron, a liquid iron with a high carbon content. This pig iron is not yet suitable for a metal tile. It has too much carbon and is brittle. To convert it into useful steel, it passes into converters or furnaces where oxygen is injected at high speed. The excess carbon is burned off and the metal is adjusted until a low-carbon steel is obtained. This detail is decisive. A metal tile needs a metal that does not break when folded, that admits successive deformations, and that maintains a balanced relationship between flexibility and strength. Once its composition is refined, the liquid steel is poured into continuous casting and solidifies into slabs. These rectangular blocks, still thick, then pass through reheating furnaces. There they reach very high temperatures again to enter the hot rolling mill. The objective is clear: to reduce a solid block into a much thinner, continuous strip of steel. The rollers of the rolling mill exert enormous pressure. With each pass, the thickness decreases and the length increases. The steel changes shape, but also its internal structure. At the exit, there is no longer a block. There is a continuous strip that can be wound into coils. This sheet still retains heat and is usually several millimeters thick, which is too much for a finished tile. Even so, something fundamental has already been achieved: dimensional uniformity on an industrial scale. Next comes cold rolling. Here the steel is processed at room temperature. The reduction in thickness is finer and much more precise. A sheet that came out of hot rolling at 2 or 3 millimeters can be reduced to thicknesses close to 0.5 millimeter or slightly more, depending on the type of roofing to be manufactured. This stage does not only thin the material, it also improves the surface finish and increases mechanical strength through cold deformation. This point is important because many people associate strength solely with thickness. In reality, a modern metal tile resists not only because of the thickness of the sheet, but also due to the quality of the steel, the shape of the profile, and the hardening it gains during transformation. It does not need to appear thick to be effective. Its design works with geometry, with the controlled elasticity of the metal, and with the distribution of loads over the roof. Once the cold-rolled steel coil is obtained, the surface is not yet ready to be exposed to the elements for decades. If it were installed like that, oxygen and humidity would begin to attack the iron. Oxidation would appear, and over time, deterioration would be inevitable. Therefore, the industry's next great mission is not to shape it, but to chemically shield the surface. Before galvanizing, the sheet must go through cleaning and conditioning. The steel emerges from the previous processes with residues of rolling oils, fine particles, and contaminants that would prevent uniform adhesion of the protective coating. In long continuous lines, the strip is unwound, moves at a constant speed, and enters alkaline cleaning baths or systems. It is then rinsed and dried carefully. In many plants, pre-annealing or thermal treatment in a controlled atmosphere is also performed. This stage restores ductility, relieves internal stresses, and prepares the steel surface to receive the protective metallic layer. Everything must be precisely calibrated: line speed, temperature, cleanliness, and surface condition. In the manufacturing of metal tiles, durability is not born in the final paint. It is born much earlier in the correct combination of metallurgy, thickness, and preparation of the sheet. When the coil is already stabilized, clean, and has the appropriate mechanical properties, the steel is ready to move on to the decisive phase, the anti-corrosive coating. That is the boundary between a simple steel sheet and a material capable of living for decades under rain, sun, and extreme temperature changes. The big question is why these tiles do not rust easily. The answer lies not in a single miracle material, but in a layered protection system. The steel provides the structure. The zinc or protective alloy provides defense against corrosion. Chemical treatments improve adhesion. The paint adds sealing, stability against solar radiation, and aesthetic protection. Everything functions as a multiple barrier. The first major defense is continuous galvanizing. In this stage, the steel coil enters a line where the strip moves forward without stopping. After cleaning and thermal conditioning, the sheet passes through a bath of molten zinc, or in some cases, through aluminum and zinc alloys. The principle is simple but very effective. The zinc coats the steel and creates a protective layer that prevents direct contact between the iron and the environment. But its role does not end there. The zinc also functions as sacrificial protection. This means that if the surface suffers a small wound or a scratch, the zinc tends to corrode before the base steel. In other words, it sacrifices itself to protect the structural metal. This property explains why a well-manufactured metal roof can continue to function even after years of exposure, small impacts, or surface wear. Controlling the thickness of the coating is a critical issue. If there is too little zinc, the anti-corrosive defense loses durability. If there is too much, the surface can become less stable for subsequent processes or make the product unnecessarily expensive. Therefore, upon exiting the bath, the sheet passes through air knives or equivalent systems that remove the excess and leave a uniform layer. The result is not an improvised film, but a coating measured with enormous industrial precision. Then the strip is cooled, and in many cases receives a small surface finish treatment. That phase helps reduce irregularities, control the appearance, and leave the surface ready for painting. To the naked eye, it may look like just another grey or silver sheet, but in reality, it has already become a material radically different from bare steel. Corrosion, which previously would have advanced relatively quickly, now encounters an active and continuous shield. However, for a long-lasting tile, that is still not enough. The next step is chemical pre-treatment. The galvanized strip undergoes fine cleaning and then receives compounds that microscopically modify the surface. The objective is not to decorate or thicken the sheet, but to create an anchoring base for the paint. Thanks to this treatment, the subsequent layers adhere much more firmly and better resist peeling, moisture, and thermal cycles. Then comes the primer. This layer is applied with rollers onto the moving strip. Its thickness must be uniform because it fulfills two tasks at once. First, it helps the finish layer adhere stably. Second, it adds additional protection against corrosion. The primer acts as a bridge between the treated surface and the final paint. The primed coil then enters a curing oven. Here, an essential transformation occurs. The paint resin does not simply dry like a freshly painted wall. It polymerizes. This means that its components react with the heat and form a solid, adherent, and resistant film. The time and temperature must be perfectly adjusted. If the curing is insufficient, the layer remains weak. If it is excessive, it can degrade or lose properties. The final layer of color is applied over that already cured base. It can be polyester, polyurethane, PVDF, or other systems depending on the performance level sought. Some tiles are designed for milder environments, others must resist intense ultraviolet radiation, coastal environments, or industrial pollutants. That is why not all roofing paints are the same. The chemistry changes, the thickness changes, the ability to retain color changes, and the resistance to aging changes. Here appears another of the reasons why metal tiles last so long. The paint does not only provide color, it also seals the surface, protects the metallic coating, and reduces environmental attack. The sun, rain, and humidity do not directly strike the zinc or the steel, but rather a film designed to withstand them. As long as that film maintains its integrity, the entire system maintains its effectiveness. In certain high-end products, the outer face also incorporates mineral granules or textured finishes. This does not only improve the visual appearance, it can also contribute to better dispersing radiation, reducing reflections, or mechanically protecting the surface layer. On the inner face, some versions add specific coatings to control condensation or improve performance in humid environments. Durability, then, does not depend on a single trick. It depends on an architecture of layers. Low-carbon steel to provide structure, galvanized or a zinc coating, an alloy of aluminum, zinc, and silicon to prevent the progression of corrosion, chemical treatment to ensure adhesion, priming to seal and connect, final finish to resist weathering, ultraviolet light and wear. When all of this is manufactured correctly, the tile ceases to be a simple thin sheet and becomes a long-lasting multi-layer system. This is why it can surpass many clay tiles in certain contexts. Fired clay resists the passage of time very well, but it is heavier, more fragile against impacts, and depends on a more robust structure underneath. The metal tile, in contrast, combines low weight with high dimensional stability, rapid installation, and superior resistance to wind, vibrations, and prolonged maintenance. Its secret is not appearing stronger, its secret is being better protected. Once the coil has its complete protective system, it still needs to be converted into a tile. At this stage, the final shape of the product is defined, and with it a good part of its structural behavior. Because a flat sheet of 0.5 millimeter seems weak, but a sheet profiled with ribs, waves, and folds becomes much more rigid. The pre-painted strip is mounted on a decoiler and advances toward the roll former. There it passes through a series of roller stations. Each pair of rollers slightly deforms the sheet. The goal is not to create the entire shape at once, because that would damage the surface, generate excessive stress, and could open microscopic cracks in the coating. The key is to deform it little by little. Each station adds a part of the profile until the final geometry is completed. That profile can imitate colonial tile, Spanish tile, slate, corrugated panels, or more modern modular designs. What matters is not just the appearance. The shape creates rigidity. A corrugated or ribbed sheet distributes stresses better, resists wind loads, and allows water to drain quickly. That is a major difference compared to a flat piece. The geometry multiplies the material's performance without the need to excessively increase the thickness. In some systems, after the longitudinal profiling, a press arrives to stamp transverse reliefs or repetitive modules. These steps further reinforce the piece and also give it an appearance closer to that of traditional roofs. The result is a metal tile that may look like fired clay from a distance, but weighs a fraction of what an equivalent ceramic roof would weigh. Next comes the cutting to size. Some lines produce modular pieces, others cut continuous lengths adapted to the slope of the roof. Precision is very important because an error in length, angle, or edge shape can compromise the overlap between pieces. And in a roofing system, a poorly designed overlap means leaks, noise, or unwanted movements with the wind. Once cut, the pieces pass to inspection. The profile, finish, edges, and presence of surface defects are reviewed. Any deep scratch or significant dent can become, over time, a starting point for corrosion. Therefore, approved tiles are stacked with protection between layers and packed for transport without damaging their finish. The next phase already occurs on site, and there another fundamental advantage over clay tiles is understood: weight. A clay roof requires a heavier and more robust structure. Metal reduces that load significantly. This simplifies the design of beams, purlins, and supports, and also reduces seismic stresses or accumulated deformations in lightweight buildings. In areas of strong wind, moreover, a well-screwed metal system behaves like a continuous skin that is much more stable than thousands of individual ceramic pieces held by gravity. Installation begins with the preparation of the secondary roof structure. Over it, waterproof barriers or membranes are placed according to the construction system. Then the tiles are fixed with self-tapping screws and sealing washers. These screws are not placed at random. They must go in specific areas of the profile to ensure fastening, water tightness and resistance to uplift by wind suction. The overlap between pieces is also decisive. Each tile partially covers the next to prevent water entry. The roof does not function as a single airtight plate, but as a sequence of pieces designed to direct water downward and outward. When the profile, the overlap, and the fastening are well executed, the system can resist intense rains, thermal variations, and very severe gusts.